Hello students, welcome back to classes on computer organization. The next topic is about stacks. So stack is a data structure which operates on last in first out manner. So best example for stack is the tiffin box. Suppose a tiffin box carrying 5 chapatis. Okay. Uh, so what will happen? You will insert the chapatis one on the other, right? Total there are 5, say, and you will close the tiffin box. Okay. Later, once you open the tiffin box, what will happen? Which chapati you are going to eat first? The fifth one, right? Because the first inserted one which is there at the bottom, the second one is there on top of it, third one, fourth one, and fifth one is there. Once you open that box, the first chapati you are going to eat is the one which you have inserted at position number 5, right? That means last in first out manner the data structure operates. Last in first out manner, the last inserted element will be taken out first, right? We are implementing this data structure. Just correlate it with real world scenarios, so things will be easier for you to understand. So it is a data structure which operates in last in first out manner. Okay. All the elements which we are going to insert in the stack will be identical, only similar to that array. But what is the difference? Difference is it operates on a strict manner. Last inserted element will be taken out first. So the two operations which we are performing on it is called as push operation and pop operation. So two basic operations, they are considered as the push stands for insertion, pop stands for deletion. That's it. Okay. As you can see the explanation here. Okay. The end is called as top of the stack and all. Insert and delete operation you are going to perform, which is called as push operation and pop operation, and it can be implemented with the help of the assembly language using this code. So subtract or sub, since you have to find the previous position, right? Why previous position is required? One on top, on just imagine that same scenario of tiffin box with 5 chapatis. Bottommost level will be containing the first one, right? On top of it you will be having the second one, next you will be having the third one, fourth one, and fifth one. That means on the memory, what you are supposed to do, you have to find the previous position on the memory. You are going to insert it on top, right? Once you are inserting it on top, so the top position can be identified or obtained just by subtracting or locating to the previous position on the memory. That's why instead of adding, if you add, it will go to the next word below. So you have to locate to the previous word, that is above. For locating the above word or previous word, you have to subtract instead of deletion. So subtract a constant value 4, which will take you to the previous word. Okay, on the SP stands for stack pointer. Okay, stack pointer is the value, address value of the currently inserted element. Say SP is the label value or address value of the currently inserted element. You want to insert the new element. For insertion of new element, you cannot locate into the next word on the memory, but you have to locate to the previous word because you are inserting on top, right? So subtract 4 from the existing value of SP. Then you have to copy the new item. Say new item is a location which holds the value to the where. See here, you have to move that data. Consider SP as a pointer now. Okay, using the address value of SP, place the data new item on the particular location. Similarly, the pop operation, that is deletion operation, can be performed. See, for deletion, what you are supposed to do is, first you have to see here, you are deleting the element, right? Copy this element you want to delete from that location to the another location. So another location is marked as item now, or delete item, whatever you can say. Now again, that memory, right? Memory position is identified using pointer. That pointer SP is marked as a pointer. So from where you have to find the location. See, location is found with the help of the indirection or pointer. Locate to the particular position of SP, access its element or access its content, place it onto the location. What is the location? Location is labeled as item. So existing element is copied from SP location to the new location called as item. Then you have to delete that, you have to change the pointer position to the next word below. One you have removed means one you have removed right now. So what will happen? The top position of the stack will be different by, you have to update it by addition. Earlier, whenever, please remember, whenever you want to insert the element onto the stack, you have to delete the constant value from 4. I mean, you have to subtract the constant value 4 from the existing value of the stack pointer. Now you have to add, because you are locating to the next word, add constant value 4 to the existing value of stack pointer. Okay, so save push and save pop operation, here is the routine. Please go through it once and go through the comment line as well. Save push and save pop means, see, whenever nothing is there on stack, whenever stack is empty, you cannot delete the element. Is deletion has got any meaning? Definitely no, right? Because since there is no element existed at all on this stack, that's why you cannot delete the element. And that is what is save pop operation is. Save push means once the stack is full, obviously you cannot insert any more elements on the stack. You have to display proper messages for it, for the user. Okay, here is the diagram for stack frame, stack of word in a memory. So bottommost element, topmost element, SP is a stack pointer, which is the current top element of the stack. So integers are inserted, minus 28, 17, 739, 43 and all, they are the values of the stack. Okay, current top position is located, that is minus 28. Whenever you want to insert new element, you have to locate to the previous value. Previous value means you have to subtract 4 from SP. If you want to delete an element, that is pop out an element, first element will be, topmost element will be popped out, that is minus 28. In that case, you have to add, you have to copy this minus 28 to new location and just change the position of SP to next word. Next word means you have to perform addition. That's it. Okay. Similarly, we have another data structure called as queue. Queue, as you are aware of, the general meaning of queue. So railway station ticket counter. Just imagine you are standing on a queue on the railway station ticket counter. So the first person who is standing right in front of the queue will be served, right? Who is being served, I say, and he will be departed, right, from the another terminal. Then the person who is just standing beside him, that it will be his turn now or her turn to get that service. Okay, whether it is reservation or getting the ticket, whatever. Okay, that person will be served and the same person will be departed. So next person will come, it is the turn of the next person, third person, then fourth person, fifth person and so on, right? That means the person who is entering first is being served first. Is there any doubt? No. What is the difference between stack and queue then? Whether the same is applicable for stack? Definitely not, isn't it? For stack, what happens is the person who is entering at last will be served first. Last in, first out, right? Last in, first out manner stack is operated, but queue is operated on first in, first out manner. FIFO, it is called as FIFO, and stack is called as LIFO, LIFO. Okay, last in, first out, where queue is first in, first out data structure. It's a data structure which holds the similar elements and it operates based on the first in, first out manner. That's it. Similar to stack, we have a queue as well. But another major difference between stack and queue is stack has got only one end. Only one end stack has got, because you are tiffin carrier, right? How many openings will be there? Only one, isn't it? Right? That is what the basic idea behind the stack. But queue has got two ends. The person is entering from one end and he is leaving from the another end. Is there any doubt? Because the person who is entering, he will be standing beside. He will be standing behind, right? And at last he will be standing. So there is an entry behind. At last there is an entry. And where is the exit? Exit is right in front of the ticket counter. That is what the exit. There itself is the exit, because he is being served, and once the service is completed, he will be departed from there itself, right? So there are two ends. One is at last, another one is at front. So front end as well as rear end, it is called as front end as well as rear end. They are the two ends or two openings that queue data structure will be having. But stack has got a single opening, only one exit, entry as well as entry come exit door is available for stack. That is what one of the major difference between the stack and queue. So similar to stack, we can even implement the queue, but queue implementation using assembly language, you don't have that coding part for as per the syllabus. Okay. Let us discuss later about it. Okay, now once the classes are started, we'll see the implementation of queue as well, and parallelly you will be studying the same concepts once again on data structure, where we will be implementing it using C or C++ programming. Next concept is about the subroutine. Subroutine, another simple concept. Say you have got the concept of functions. You have studied the concept of functions earlier in first years in C programming, right? Function. What is a function? User defined function. It's a what? It's what? It's a set of code which perform the required task, right? Or specific task, say. It is called as function. Set of code which performs the specific task or required task as per the user definition, right? So that is what the user defined function is. So similar to that user defined function, here we call it as each user defined function is called as a routine or subroutine, part of the program. Subroutine is a part of the program which is called to perform the specific or particular task. Okay, and concept of implementation of subroutine is done with the help of the data structure called as stack, as well as even we can use the queue also. So a subtask consisting of a set of instruction which is executed many times as per the requirement, which is called as subroutine. Subtask in general you can say, or user defined function. So the call instruction which causes a branch to the subroutine. To make a call for the subroutine, we have to explicitly write an instruction called as CALL, call instruction, followed by name of the subroutine to be specified, so which will take the control to the particular location. So at the end of the subroutine, control should be transferred back to the calling function. Just recall the concept of calling function and called function in your C programming, right? The main function, normally main function is considered as the calling function, because main function is the default executable, where default executable program exists, right? So that is the calling function, and the another one is called as the called function, right? So the call instruction which causes the branch to the subroutine, and at the end of the subroutine there is an instruction available which is called as a return instruction, which will take the control back onto the calling function or main function. So the program resumes the execution at the instruction immediately following the subroutine call. The way in which the computer makes it possible to call and return from subroutine, which is called as subroutine linkage method. Linkage comes, question of linkage comes here because from one place to other place control is being transferred. So method called as linkage is required. Okay. As you can, there is a register, special purpose register, which holds the intermediate result while or memory value while performing the linkage. So it is called as link register. Here is a program, say sequential program. At memory locations are identified using numbers. Okay. At location 200 there is a call instruction is written. Call instruction followed by a label, as I told you earlier. Call followed by a label. SUB is a label where this subroutine is written at the location 1000. Now what is the position of the control? Control is placed at location 200. So where it should jump to now? Instead of executing the next instruction in sequence, it should go for branching. Next instruction is located at 204, but instead of executing that instruction which is there at 204, it will locate to the location called as 1000, right? So the location 1000 which holds the subroutine, the instructions. So there are set of instructions located under the subroutine which is named as SUB. First instruction is there at location 1000 and so on. At last it has got a return instruction, say 1020 has got a return instruction. Okay, once the so sequential execution will happen from 1000 to 1020 because you have called it from the location 200. So whenever 200 the instruction which is placed at location memory location 200 is being executed, immediately control will change its path from 200 to 1000. It will take a jump. Call is considered as a jump operation or jump instruction. It will execute sequentially all the instructions from 1000 to 1020. At 1020 we have a return instruction. So control will come back to the calling function, which is a calling function left hand side program, the main program. So calling function and subroutine is marked here. Just go through carefully. So the next instruction from the main function will be executed, which is located at 204. Okay. So the definition of PC you have to analyze. PC is the one which holds the next instruction, address of the next instruction. Whenever the subroutine is called, so whenever the call instruction is being executed, so PC should be updated as per the sequential as per the concept of sequential execution, line by line execution, which is after 200 you have to look into the control should look into the location 204, but the instruction which is written at position 200 is different. It is quite different. If the concept of branching comes, so you have to update automatically. The program counter will be updated with a new value. Instead of locating to 204, you should locate to. It will tell the control that you have to locate to the position 1000. 1000 will be placed in place of instead of 204. Okay. Then the things will be kept on link register. This 204 value will be stored on link register because PC is updated. PC is updated to 1000. The 204 will be placed onto dedicated register. As I told you earlier, the special purpose register used for subroutine linkage, link register, intermediate value it holds. 204 it will be holding. Once the return is executed, it will send that value 204 back to PC. So PC will be containing next instruction address. That's it. Right? Concentrate carefully. If you still have any doubt, please pause the video, rewind it, watch it again. Please make a note of it. Very, very important topic from the first module. It's very simple concept again. See, the function can take the parameter. That's what the next concept is. We can go for implementation of parameter passing for assembly programming as well. So the exchange of information between calling program and a subroutine is referred to as parameter passing. Exchange of information between calling function and called function. Calling function is the main function normally or by default, and called function is a subroutine. It can be a subroutine and another subroutine also in some cases. So that is what called as this exchanging of information. The process is called as. These parameters or values may be placed in a register or a memory location where they can be accessed by the subroutine. Alternatively, parameters may be placed on the processor stack used for saving the return address. So here is a small example list of addition of n numbers which we have discussed already twice or thrice. Now again we'll be discussing the same example. This is one of the very important example. If you learn this one example, then it is sufficient for entire first module. Entire first module throughout we have used the same programming example. So in multiple ways we have written it. Right, earlier the very first example is introduction of the very first example is sequential execution. So 10 times you have to write that add or n times, which is replaced by a branching. That is what the second concept. So we have just in that branching we have, instead of writing that instruction inside loop, we have just made some statement. Then that statement is replaced by some line of code. This comes under addressing modes, right? Then the same is continued with auto increment. The same is replaced by two terms. Two lines are replaced with a single line using auto increment. That also we have seen yesterday. Then now concept of subroutine, the same example is taken. Calling program and subroutine or called function, they are separated as you can see here. In the calling function or main function, what is done? Move instruction. There is a move instruction. So n comma r1 is written. That means r1 serves as a counter. R1 stores the count value. It stores the count value. How many number of or how many terms you need to consider for addition. What is the value of n? That is stored on r1. Next, the address value of the label num1 should be copied onto the register, say processor register R2. Then these are all the initialization. Then what is done? Next, immediately we are calling a subroutine. There is a call instruction. You can see call instruction, call followed by you are making a call for the subroutine list add. It's a user defined function. So control will change its path to the location list add, which is there below. Finally, I'll come back to that last statement, that move statement later. So you have to look into the location listed now. Under listed, so the intermediate register R0, initialize it to it which stores the summation. So first initialize it to 0 using clear statement, clear R0. Then loop, that is repetition is required. Under repetition, the same concept. What we are doing is we have used the auto increment mode here as we have used it in a previous example which I told you just now. So add R2 plus, which stands for add the content of pointer register R2 to R0 and increment the address of that pointer register by 4, right? Next is decrement the counter by 1, that is decrement R1. Comparison operator is used, the comparison is used, that is branch greater than 0 true, which compares the value of the counter, that result after decrementing, what is the value of counter, that is compared with 0. Go back to the location loop and finally execute the return instruction, which will take the control back to the calling function. So under calling function, what happens? Next instruction in sequence will be executed. What is the next instruction in sequence? Move instruction. So final result is stored on R0, which is transferred to sum. Very simple concept. Okay. Next is the stack frame. Stack frame refers to the location that constitute a private workspace for the subroutine. As I told you earlier, the implementation of subroutine is done with the help of the stack frame. Stack frame, okay, which is the private area on the memory where each subroutine resides, or workspace you can say. Programming examples are not that important here, just go through the diagram. So it will be having, each private workspace will be having a special pointer which is called as frame pointer. Stack implementation, a stack can have more than one such type of frame. So each frames will be having a smaller subdivision. To locate smaller subdivision, there is a separate pointer is used, that is frame pointer is used. Okay, just go through the diagram, you will come to know. So implementation part is not that important, just go through the definition. For implementation part, the example of addition of n number, that is very important because repeatedly the question has been asked. And rest, you study the theory part and all, but implementation of stacks, that is important, just go through it. Next is the stack frame and nested subroutine. So nested subroutine, nesting. What is nesting? Inserting one on the other. So inserting a subroutine inside the another subroutine, or making a call from one subroutine to other subroutine, which is called as nesting. Okay. Nested loops, nested if statements and all we have studied earlier. What is that nested stands for? One inside the other is called as nesting, right? One subroutine can make a call for the another subroutine, which is like a chain which can call another subroutine, and finally it can deliver the result back to main function or its calling function, whatever. So it is called as a nested subroutine. Nested subroutine again can be implemented with the help of the stack frame. That is what explained here. So next part is the additional instruction. Under additional instruction, some logical instructions we will be discussing. Okay. Apart from them, shift and rotate instructions also we will be discussing. Let us see them in the next session. Please make a note of all the topics which we have discussed. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.